I'm the decider, and I decide what is best.
For my videos on the top vlog, so you better check them out. This story has to do with a woman by the name of Liz Sakuro. She lives in New York, and back in 1984, when she was a 17-year-old college student, she was raped by a guy from Phi Kappa Psi fraternity. Okay, she went to a party, they gave her a roofie, and she was dragged into a room, and she was actually gang raped.
That's terrible.
But she didn't know that she was gang raped until later on, but she definitely knew that there was one specific guy involved. Years later, 20 years later, he writes her a letter apologizing for raping her, okay? After she was raped, she went to university officials, she told them what happened. She's like, look, I got roofied, I got dragged into a room, I need you guys to look into this. University officials said, look, don't go to the police department because it's out of their jurisdiction. This is in the university's jurisdiction and only we can deal with it, and we'll investigate it. Just be cool, right?
Instantly wrong. No, if you get raped, it's in the cops' jurisdiction. And if anybody tells you otherwise, watch out, because they're doing you wrong. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's to cover it up, whatever their motive is, but it's a bad motive.
It is a bad motive. And by the way, the rapist's name is William Beebe. Okay? Mm-hmm. So the university officials did nothing. They completely ignored the case. 20 years later, the rapist contacts Liz Sakuro. And in his email to her, he says, Dear Elizabeth, in October 1984, I harmed you. I can scarcely begin to understand the degree to which, in your eyes, my behavior has affected you in its wake. Still, I stand prepared to hear from you about just how and in what ways you've been affected, and to begin to set right the wrong I've done in any way you see fit. Most sincerely yours, Will Beebe.
Yeah, I don't know. The sincerely yours bothers me a lot. And I hope they arrested this guy. And, you know, the roofie thing scares the hell out of me, man.
It does.
That's such a scary thing. And then you wake up and then some guy sends you this letter 20 years later. It's crazy. So what was her reaction?
So she read this, and initially, she's married now, she has a child. And initially her reaction was that anger, curiosity. She emailed him and asked him where he was, you know, asked him questions about why he did what he did. And she found out that he was never married, he was an alcoholic. He said something that was very, very questionable in one of his emails. He told her, I remember that you were a natural blonde.
Oh, come on, don't say that.
Right. So
if you're so-called trying to make up for it, and by the way, you should try to make up for it a little earlier. It's convenient that, you know, I don't know if the statute of limitations ran on it.
It did not. And
I'm so happy it has that ending.
It did not. So what she did is she finally decided, you know what, I'm going to go to authorities, I'm going to tell them what happened, and maybe I can finally get justice, right? She goes to the authorities, and they open a trial, you know, they begin a trial, and he got sentenced. But you think that this story has a happy ending, but it doesn't. He gets sentenced to 10 years in prison. Except his a big part of his sentence gets suspended, and he only ends up serving 6 months in prison. And when he was in jail, he was supposed to be in maximum security, but the people who ran the prison said that human error led them to put him in a much a more lenient area of the prison, right? So he gets out 6 months later, and that's it. That's his punishment. So justice wasn't really served.
And of course, they never caught the other guys.
They never caught the other two guys that were involved in the gang rape. So
right.
It's a sad story. And the thing that I take away from it is, look, this guy took part in a gang rape, okay? A violent crime, and it really affected this woman's life. And he hardly got any consequences for it. At the same time, we have people in our prisons crowding our prisons for nonviolent crimes, like drug offenses. So I think that stories like this really put our justice system in perspective.
Yeah, look, 10 years makes sense. And he says, oh, how can I make amends? Here's how you can make amends. By serving 10 years for a gang rape. Okay, that's how maximum security. That makes amends. That's our criminal justice system. Unfortunately, I don't know if it was because of the overcrowding or not. 6 months, man. Look, it sets a bad precedent. You know, what is the message that you're sending out to society? Like, if you do drugs or get caught with drugs, as Anna's point, you're in a world of trouble. But you do a gang rape, 6 months.
Right.
It's crazy.
And he was released because of overcrowding.
Oh, that's it. Come on. Our priorities are so skewed. It's crazy. I'd rather let out a million guys caught for doing drugs than let that guy out in 6 months. You know what you won't get on the top vlog?
Documents,
You know what else you won't get?
live sex.
But you will get the best commentary from the top comedians, commentators, pundits, vloggers in the country. Check out the top vlog.